Hey, welcome back to Two Super Guys Trade Stocks. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Vinny, and today we're talking about the sweetest trade that's come across any Twitter feed I've seen in the last couple of days. But the real question is it so sweet that it deserves jail time? We're going to talk about the trade, and we're going to talk about the history of these trades.
Two Super Guys Trade Stocks.
So this is just from this week alone. I saw this tweet by Unusual Whales. I had actually sent it to Dylan. I was like, oh my God, this is insane. So he's like, it's got to be a video, man. Someone went out and bought these contracts, right? These calls for 4 cents. And then the next day they were worth $18.30. Amazing trading, right? Absolutely fantastic. They turned 22K into just about $10 million
And it was
overnight.
$22,000 for calls at the 4 cents, right?
Yeah.
Expiring the following day in a stock that is not a pop. This is such shit.
Yeah, I mean, these options were expiring literally the next day, so they dropped 22 grand on it. Yeah, you would really want to have some degree of confidence, right? So the real kind of funny part here is the responses to this, right? So the story here is SPLK. This is the company that was being traded, and pretty ridiculous shape to this graph here, right? That kind of shape tells you there was a major news event, okay? And this is the major news event. Cisco Systems. Talked about them in the past for other things, but $28 billion all-cash deal to acquire them. The largest acquisition ever. So, do you happen to wonder maybe someone happened to buy the options when they knew this was about to happen? I don't know. Maybe.
If I had a guess on what happened here, it's clearly they knew about it. That's not even a question. But it's probably someone that is younger, like 23, 24, that has not heard of Martha Stewart and some other people, because I would assume this person he or she is going to prison. This is rough.
This is the top response to it. Basically, it was like, 22K to 10 million overnight, straight to jail.
Yeah.
And I think that's a pretty accurate assessment. The possibility that you kind of clued on to this without actually having insider knowledge, although it's technically possible, it's
definitely possible.
More,
not within
more likely
12 hours though.
Yeah. This is another funny response. I like this. What do you think? You think this is her trade?
I would think that she's smarter than that. She's a little bit more sly. She would have waited 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, probably, right? She's a little smarter than that. So this is probably the most famous insider trading, and it wasn't so much the dollar amount involved; it was the person involved here. I just realized that there's a person's name and address on here, but I just took this from Google Images. The cover of Newsweek with Martha Stewart made it. Up. Do you know how much she profited from this trade?
I don't. Just to be clear, I have not seen this presentation, so I did not throw Martha Stewart out there knowing that was going to be a slide.
Yeah, there were a few from an article that I kind of put a couple of their stories in here, but she's the most famous. She's the most relatable one. Basically, she owned some shares in this company that was seeking FDA approval for a chemotherapeutic drug. The CEO of the company became aware of the fact that they were not likely to receive FDA approval, and had started telling people that you should probably sell your shares. So Martha sold 4,000 shares she owned of the company, profiting about $250,000. She killed it. Absolutely crushed it.
Okay. All right.
For a woman of her name recognition to then have her, kind of reputation muddied, although she's worked out it pretty well with it in the back end of this thing. But $250,000, and she ended up going to jail, in case you were not aware of that. So she claimed that her broker had a sell order already in place. Her and her broker both went to jail. The CEO of the company went to jail because he had told multiple other people to start selling their shares. Many of the insiders had, disposed of a large portion of their ownership, not the CEO himself. But they were both found guilty of insider trading. Stewart was sentenced to a minimum of 5 months in prison and fined $30,000.
So does that stack then? Because that was for $250K. And this guy made 10 million, so 250, so 40 times, right? That's 40. Yeah.
amount of like the kind of proceeds of a crime is a factor that the federal government uses in terms of assessing the prison sentencing times. So that would be something that this person could potentially have to come to reckon with, if you will. There were some other famous ones. This one I thought this is kind of one of the famous ones. This was before it was actually illegal. So 1929 crash, 1929. This guy actually worked for Chase Bank and shorted 40,000 shares of Chase Bank.
Of his own company.
Yeah, of his own company. I
Okay.
love it. Yep.
Man, okay, so
He,
it said he made 4 million. What
4
is
million.
4 million today?
I mean, 4 million from $1929 to today, that's big money. Okay. It's big money. I don't know. You can throw that in the calculator if you want. It was also eligible for a $100,000 a year pension, which he ultimately gave up because of public outcry. The best thing about this whole thing, that to me though, is that there's an anti-Wiggin section. When you do something so well and so innovative that there's now a rule against something that you did in the following legislation, that's how you know you did things right. It's like the Bill Belichick rule. No taping practices.
Are you ready for how much he made?
No, how much would it be today?
It's about 72 million.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty sexy. So
Yeah.
7 times with this guy just profited from this other trade. Um,
Jeez.
but yeah, that's basically the whole long and short of some of these wild, insider trading scandals or scenarios. There is obviously like an interesting ethical debate on whether or not it should be something you can do, but
No.
in this case, I doubt this makes any sense from a legality standpoint.
I guarantee you this is like a 22 or 23-year-old who who is probably on Wall Street bets and did not understand that you cannot do this. And it sucks. I'm sure they're either A, have no idea. No, they're on Wall Street bets. So they're scrambling. I feel like if you're them, you just made 10 million. You just have to move to some place with no extradition, like just right now, right?
That's a thought. Yeah, they did apparently close the trade as of I think Saturday. It had been closed out, so they did profit, and they did close the trade for a profit. So I'm sure the SEC will be at their house by Monday morning.
I just homie needs to hop on a plane, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't.
Exactly, but pretty
Oh
wild.
boy. Yeah. Jeez. Okay. All right. Don't insider trade, fellas. Not good.
Yeah, as much as tempting as it is to make $10 million overnight, the prison time is probably not worth it.
Nope. Have a good one, guys.